All right, so first play we're going to look at, 2nd and 2, one of the Patriots' first offensive plays.
What's going on, everyone? Mike Kadlick, Taylor Kyles here for CLNS Media outside of Gillette Stadium as the Patriots get ready to take on the 2-7 Jets. It's prime time. It's nor'easter jerseys. It's Foxboro. We're starting to get some rain, so it really feels like
a storm's brewing.
Yeah,
is that good?
There we go. Not
hey.
bad. Remember that Boston accent that came out by accident with you?
Yeah, no, it's actually subtly implanting itself in my brain, but hey. What a better time for it, huh?
What a better time for it, because it feels like a real prime time Gillette Stadium. Like I said, little rainy. It feels like there's definitely.
Alma just broke out the umbrella.
Yeah,
like this is for real.
There's a palpable buzz in the air for this game. There really is. Again, the new jerseys, the Jets are coming to town, rivalry game, and the Patriots are 8-2, trying to get to 9-2 here against these New York Jets, who, while they have won 2 in a row, obviously not. At the bottom of the barrel in the division right now. They're not a great football team. So the Patriots, while it feels like it's not going to be necessarily a competitive game, it feels like a really good stage and opportunity for them to show, again, on a national stage, what this team is. So we're going to get into, how this game's going to go, some keys to the game. We'll talk about inactives once they drop at 6:45 here. We already do know a couple players who are definitely out. That is Kayshon Boutte, Ramondre Stevenson, Christian Ellis, and Austin Hooper. So let's use that right now directly off as a jumping off point. Now, Dearness Johnson, practice squad running back, was elevated today. Looks like Travion Henderson will lead the backfield, get a majority of the carries. Terrell Jennings was questionable coming into this game. Sounds like, at least according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, that he will play. So, Taylor, Patriots, let's go. Here we go. Got the fans behind us, too. That's why we're out here outside at Gillette. So, on the running game, how can the Patriots attack the Jets? And do you think that that's going to be their bread and butter? Or do you think it's going to be maybe more so a Drake May game, airing it out here in Foxborough?
I'm hoping for a balanced attack, to be honest. And to be fair, it is Thursday. Thursday night games are weird.
Yep.
Division games are weird. So if they just wanted to try to pound the rock as much as possible, I would be all for it. But my concern is, last week, Travion Henderson obviously makes 2 really long runs. Could have had 3 if it weren't for a miss from Jack Westover. But at the same time, outside of those runs, the Patriots had a very tough time creating lanes for Travion Henderson and Terrell Jennings, who only had a handful of carries in the first quarter. So the question is, can Travion Henderson build on last week and continue to add? Because the past 3 games, he's built more and more momentum. Now, this Jets run defense, obviously the entire defense is missing some pretty key pieces, but now you have no more Quinnen Williams. And this defense is one of the worst in the NFL against the ground game when it comes to yards after contact. Travion Henderson has been excellent after contact in the last 3 weeks. So you're hoping that the Patriots, it's a short week, hopefully maybe the Jets are a little bit banged up or something like that, and you can take advantage. But you need to be able to run the ball, because this Jets defense is susceptible, but you also don't want to be one-dimensional, especially against Aaron Glenn.
We talked a little bit on yesterday's show if this could be a trap game for the Patriots. The more I thought about it today, the more I sat and stewed over how this thing could happen today out here in Foxborough. The more I was like, you know what? Patriots are going to come in here. They're going to whoop ass. It's a short week, but then they get the long break, right? They've now played. This will be their 11th game in a row here. They get a mini bye going into the second half of the season before ended up getting their real bye in a couple weeks here. But I feel like this is just shaping up to be a butt whooping. Now, looking at this looking at the butt whooping and looking at this passing attack and what Drake May has become, the MVP favorite through 11 weeks. I know we mentioned no Kayshon Boutte, meaning Kyle Williams, who had a 72-yard touchdown last week, will have to step up. You mentioned some Jets injuries. They're missing a starting cornerback out there as well. No Quinnen Williams. But how the Patriots can attack this pass defense of the Jets, do you think? I know you mentioned the balanced attack, but looking more at the passing game, how do you think they attack with Drake May and how well he's been playing so far this season?
Well, I do think there are going to be some vulnerabilities. Again, I don't think you want to be one-dimensional in this game, but the Jets, obviously with no more Sauce Gardner or Quinnen Williams, that makes them less intimidating, but this is a defense that wants to play a lot of man coverage and they want to blitz. I feel like that's going to play into the Patriots' favor. Potentially another good game from Kyle Williams, who showed even against A.J. Terrell back against the Falcons that he can create some separation against man-to-man coverage. Told me actually after that game that A.J. Terrell, Kyle Williams gave him some props and said, yo, you got some pretty nice releases. So maybe we see him continue to build. Demario Douglas, we know, is so difficult to cover in man coverage. And Michael Carter's a guy he's very familiar with. His first season, you remember that Jets game that we were at in MetLife where he was kind of torching Michael Carter and Mac Jones couldn't take advantage. So I think there's going to be some advantages there. And we know Stephon Diggs, if you don't get your hands on him, he's a really tough cover man-to-man as well. And if the Jets aren't like the Buccaneers, who did a great job with their pass rush with 4 and 3 three defenders, making sure that they didn't let Drake May get out of the pocket. I don't know if this Jets defense can quite get to that level, and if all the defense's backs are turned, that's going to be easier for Drake May to get outside the pocket. I know they're going to try to spy him. Maybe also Aaron Glenn kind of gets away from that blitz-heavy approach that he likes the way Todd Bowles did and favors more coverage in spying Drake May to test his patience. So I think that's going to be really interesting. See if Aaron Glenn sticks to his DNA or if he changes it up like Bowles did.
I was just going to bring that up because that second half of that Tampa game, they stopped blitzing him because he was just picking it apart. They dropped 8. They spied him with Levante David, and the offense struggled a little bit down the stretch in that second half. If the Jets do the same thing here, drop 7, drop 8, try and get pressure with 4, and spy him with one of these, whether it's a Quincy Williams in the middle or what have you, do you trust Drake May enough with what you've seen from him so far to dice up a man-to-man defense in the Jets, just playing it straight like that and not trying to get after him, with the blitz and confusing him that way?
I do think that Drake May did a better job of that last week because one of the biggest things that we talked about going into last week's game was Drake May taking unnecessary sacks, either because he was holding on to the ball when he had guys open or he's just tucking it when he doesn't need to. And last week, while again, the Buccaneers did a very good job kind of preventing those opportunities, period, I thought he hung back in there. I thought he made throws that were available. Obviously, some misses. You're going to kind of get those with a sophomore quarterback, even a potential MVP in Drake May. But I do feel a little bit more confident. Now, that said, last week against some of those three-man rushes, the offensive line sometimes didn't give him enough time to really surveil the field as much as he might have wanted to. And when I asked him earlier this week, Drake, I didn't really say Drake like that, but I said, hey, against these three-man rushes, what are you thinking as a quarterback? How do you beat those types of defenses? And he said the key there is patience. So he knows what he's got to do, but knowing it and doing it are two different things. Drake May's done such a great job week to week, improving on the areas where he's been weak, even if he's been inconsistent. So this will be another solid test.
The Patriots, sticking with the offense for a second, their tight end / fullback room is fascinating to me this week. We've seen Kairos Tonga taking more reps at the fullback spot away from Jack Westover, who kind of transitioned from tight end to fullback throughout this offseason and preseason. But now Austin Hooper, we mentioned, is out with the concussion. He will not play tonight. And they did not elevate anyone from the practice squad. They have C.J. Dupree, rookie out of Alabama, on the practice squad. They did not elevate him, so they're going with Henry, with Westover, and that's really it at tight end, and then obviously Kairos Tonga at fullback. How do you see them replacing Hooper in that, whether it's through the passing game or whether it's through him and his ability being a blocker in the run game as well? How do you think they'll kind of attack that? Is it more Jack Westover? Is it more Kairos Tonga? How do you think they go about it there?
Well, definitely means more Jack Westover. Yeah. We actually saw that a couple weeks ago against the Falcons, where Austin Hooper didn't play quite as much as we're used to, but it was a whole lot of Jack Westover in what they kind of have as those 21 personnel packages. And when it comes to Austin Hooper as someone who, in those two tight end sets, they love to go spread and move Austin Hooper around to help create some identifications for Drake May to know what coverage is coming. Sometimes they also use him just as someone who can help create picks against man coverage. That's where I think Jack Westover fills in the most. But when it comes to blocking, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing some 6 offensive line packages because Austin Hooper is such a key when it comes to being an inline blocker. And in those two tight end sets, they like to have Hooper there, but they like to move Hunter Henry around as kind of a Z receiver. So he's not even really a tight end sometimes. He's more of a receiver. So in those looks, if they really are trying to run the ball or go hard play action, do you want Jack Westover there who's not going to get as much push, or do you want someone like Vidarian Lowe's really been that jumbo tight end when they experimented with this in weeks 4 to 6? Yeah. But maybe a Caden Wallace, someone who I think could sneakily be active because of how many guys we already know are inactive. There's only a couple more names they need there, including Tommy DeVito. So maybe we see Caden Wallace make his debut under this Mike Vrabel regime, but also potentially Marcus Bryant, the team's later round pick, who showed really well in the preseason. I feel like he and Caden Wallace are better fits if you're trying to get some movement in the ground game than a Vidarian Lowe, who's better, I think, as a pass protector, as a spot starting caliber pass protector. Before y'all come at me in the comments.
Don't the Vidarian Lowe angle here again, Taylor.
Exactly, but a lot of Jack Westover, I think potentially 6 offensive linemen. And then Tonga, I think he's going to be more of a fullback, but we've also seen him on the wing going in motion to create some more momentum. So I think it's going to be a group effort, which might be surprising for some fans who might not have Austin Hooper at the top of their minds when it comes to how the Patriots really are trying to scheme things up.
Calling it now, Kairos Tonga scores a touchdown tonight.
I hope so, man.
The books have it up across the board wherever you get your action in, so follow along and get Kairos Tonga in on a touchdown. We'll see if that happens there, but that would be so much fun. You see him on the wing, I'm like, they're gonna play action this. They're gonna slip him one and dump it off to him wide open in the end zone.
Vidarian has a touchdown last year, so
Tonga spike, maybe we'll see what happens. We'll get back to actually, no, let's do it now. Just the run game, or the run blocking hasn't been great the last couple weeks. Now down Austin Hooper, who you mentioned has been a key there. Quickly, do you trust those guys? Do you trust adding a sixth offensive lineman here to help hurt. How do you think they can go, run blocking against this Jets front?
I think another offensive lineman, that's something I've kind of been mentioning for a while now, is as solid as Austin Hooper is, and he's been at the point of attack on a lot of their positive runs. Hunter Henry does the best he can, so I'm not trying to disparage those guys, but there are some reps where you can tell the Patriots are trying to maybe bounce outside on duo, where usually it's a downhill run where you're just trying to get some dirty yards, but if the defense responds and plugs those gaps, a lot of the times running backs will use that opportunity to get outside and try to make a cornerback miss, but a lot of times those tight ends and sometimes even Matt Collins end up getting pushed back so far, there's no room to really navigate. So I think a sixth offensive lineman could generate the push you need there. And also, when this run game's at its best, they're going outside of Morgan Moses and outside of Will Campbell, who have been, I think, among their most consistent run blockers. And the Jets, against the Carolina Panthers in Week 7, they gave up a bunch of big runs, specifically outside left. So look for Will Campbell to potentially have a good day. And if Travion Henderson can get outside the tackles, obviously you got to watch out, especially once again against the defense that's not been very good in the tackling department.
We got just over 4 minutes to go until inactives come out for this game. So before we get a quick read in here from Prize Picks, just wanted to ask you, flip it over to the defensive side of the ball for the Patriots. This Jets offense. Now, their passing attack, as we know, was not great. I believe Justin Fields only had like 50-something yards last week, even in a win. That game across the pond over in London, the team had negative passing yards, given the fact that he was sacked 9 times. I think he only threw for like 10 or 12 or whatever it was. Long story short, the passing attack hasn't been great, but they do have a dynamic running back in Breece Hall, and Justin Fields, while he hasn't been great throwing the ball, he does have a dynamic set of legs on him.
Yes, he does. He does.
He's a very good runner, can get out in space and make people miss, what have you. So understanding that they might not have the best success through the air here, how do the Patriots stop this rushing attack on the ground from the Jets, especially given last week was the first time they allowed a 50-yard rusher in Sean Tucker?
Yeah, you got to build a wall, and that's something I think they've been pretty inconsistent doing the past couple weeks. Against the Falcons and Bijan Robinson, I thought the defensive backs really covered up some deficiencies they had in the defensive line. There were bigger holes than what you typically expect from this unit, although obviously they also had plenty of times where Tonga and company are building a brick wall. It wasn't down to down the way that we came to expect. And last week, I thought the problem was even bigger. Sean Tucker, hey, Q's-a-la, much respect to him. He also was the first running back to go for 50 yards against this defense, which, of course, we all expected going into the game. But I thought there were some more vulnerabilities. I thought Robert Spillane got blocked up a lot, and that was why those running backs were able to kind of get to the second level and rip off a handful of explosives, not just a couple. If you give Breece Hall those opportunities, he's a home run hitter, and he's going to be a tough tackle at the second level, no matter how physical you're playing. So they got to make sure, and this is a Jets run defense or run offense also that's going to pound the rock. Unlike a couple other teams who, the Buccaneers and Falcons, they probably could have done it more, but for whatever reason they didn't. The Jets are going to run it 30 times if they're down 20. So you got to make sure that, one, you get a nice lead so that run game really is pretty much futile and banging your head against a wall, but you can't keep them in the game and let Breece Hall rip off one of those long ones. And you can't sleep on Justin Fields either, because with his legs, whether it's a scramble or a designed run, if you get him in open space, he's lost some weight. He's crazy fast, so he could be gone as well. Do not let this backfield tear you apart. If you can do this, I think that's how the Patriots get their comfortable win.
We'll find out who's in and who's out of this matchup in just a minute. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Prize Picks, because as you all know, this episode and every episode of Patriots Daily is powered by Prize Picks, the best place to get in on the action. Right now, the hard-hitting football action is even better on Prize Picks, and the weather might be changing, the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is simple to play. All you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. You can play Prize Picks across 40-plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia, and it's the only app that offers stacks, which means you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. For tonight, example, Drake May, you want to pick him to have more passing yards, more rushing yards, more touchdowns. You can do that all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. So don't wait. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code CLNS, and you will get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Shout out Prize Picks, the best sponsor, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the CLNS Media Network and Patriots Daily here. Waiting on the inactives report here out in Foxboro.
Do we want to try to guess?
We can try and guess. We have it's an hour and a half before kickoff, not 90 minutes. So I just want to make sure we had the time right. So as we know, Ramondre Stevenson, Kayshawn Boutte, Austin Hooper, and Christian Ellis all ruled out. That's 4 players, so we need 2 more, 3 more?
I think 2 more, because you only need 6, and obviously you could have more, but I think it's going to end up being John Saunders and Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito is kind of a layup.
He'll be there as well.
Yeah, and John Saunders is relatively new, but again, like I said, you could use Caden Wallace to help replace Austin Hooper, and also Eric Gregory, the defensive tackle. He's been here for a while, is often inactive, but with Joshua Farmer currently working with an ankle injury, he's questionable. Even if he does play, he is also someone who could potentially be inactive. But if he is, I think there's a chance that Eric Gregory could potentially make his Patriots debut.
Let me see that nor'easter jersey. Come get in the shot. Want to show the fans. Nor'easter. I wanted to pull up the nor'easter jerseys here. We got a fan here. What's your name?
That's pretty.
Paul. Paul, what's up, Paul?
How you doing?
Good. We have the brand new nor'easter Patriots jersey here. The Drake
Looking
May.
nice, see?
Of course. Looking very sharp. Do you have a prediction for tonight's game?
Yeah, we'll probably win by a touchdown or 2.
Okay.
I think everyone's thinking it's a trap game, so they're going to keep it a little closer, but I got faith in my guy.
Who scores tonight?
Who scores? Probably Diggs again.
Okay.
I think Trey scores again. I think we keep it on the ground after last week's performance, and should be a great game.
Love it.
I like it, brother. Thank
Appreciate
you so
it, Paul.
much.
Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy.
Those are the nor'easter jerseys. They are sweet in person. I remember I talked about it the other day.
Somebody dropped the
Somebody
pass.
dropped the
Hopefully that's the
pass.
last drop pass
Catch
we
the
see
ball,
for the
come
Patriots
on.
jersey today.
Who's 40? Is that Devlin? Is that a Devlin jersey? Let's go.
Oh, that's a beauty. And a throwback
Yeah, I
Devlin
like
jersey.
it. All right.
Very nice.
The fans are out. The fans are wild. Someone's dropping passes here. That's what I wanted to get to before Next officially came out. What's these jerseys? We talked about it the other night. I ranked them for SI.com when they first came out. I put the Patriots dead last. Didn't like it. Thought they were very uninspired. But looking at them, looking at the story behind them, the fact that they are named after Northeasterns, Boston, the city, a night like tonight is the perfect time to bring them out. And seeing it in person, it is actually a pretty sick uniform.
Yeah, I'm a grouch, so I can't stand a blatant cash grab. But I will say, they're growing on me.
Yeah.
I'm closer to indifference than not liking them. And for me, that's a pretty big step.
Yeah.
But, you know, like
I am with you on the cash grab, totally. I think that's the only reason they do it. They're not actually trying to connect to the city or whatever, but it's a pretty sweet uniform regardless.
But also, it's not like I'm exactly the pinnacle of fashion over here.
Yeah,
so
oh,
no one
come
should be
on.
asking my opinion on what clothes look like. But they are growing on me, and I think it's kind of cool. Like, the description is pretty gnarly. If anything, go check those out. If you're not yet sold on the jerseys, the descriptions might kind of open up a little bit of room in your heart.
Totally. Drake May.
I called it.
What do we
Eric Gregory makes his debut.
Okay, all right. Where'd
Wow.
you get that?
That is from, Mark Daniels tweeted it specifically, but they do have the inactives. Terrell Jennings is good to go. That's big.
Okay.
Let's see.
There we go. Patriots inactives. We'll read them out loud. As we know, Kayshawn Boutte, Ramondre Stevenson, Christian Ellis, Austin Hooper inactive. Caden Wallace is also inactive once again. But Joshua Farmer as well, and Tommy DeVito. So Farmer down, Caden Wallace down. But like you said, Eric Gregory, as well as who else is making their debut that you mentioned?
No Caden Wallace. It
Oh,
would have
no
been
Caden
him.
Wallace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
there we
Eric
go.
Gregory
Yeah.
going to be in for Joshua Farmer, who is in fact inactive.
Totally. So thoughts there? What do you make of Farmer being down? Does that hurt them in the, obviously up front? How does that impact what they got going on with Bomber, with Milton Williams, that rotation there? And I know we'll react to the other ones in a second, but I feel like Farmer really is the big one here.
It is big, and he's been good for the Patriots as a run defender. Each week he's shown up, and he's starting to grow as a pass rusher as well. But Eric Gregory was a guy I was actually pretty excited when they acquired him. He's big, he's physical, and he's got some athleticism to him. And I think this was a guy the Patriots actually liked in the pre-draft process, which he's on the team now. Not exactly a surprise, but I wouldn't be surprised if Eric Gregory makes a bit of noise if he's able to play tonight. And also, I believe we'll probably see him on special teams as like a field goal blocker and stuff like that. But I don't think there's going to be a huge drop-off necessarily. As good as Joshua Farmer is, again, I like Eric Gregory, but could just mean that we see more of the regulars like Corey Durden, who's been really, really good. Someone I've highlighted the past few weeks, and it feels like last week finally started to catch on. So wouldn't be surprised to see a big game from him as well.
No shockers on the Jets side of the football, as we know. Azariah Thomas, is that how you say his name?
Azariah, I think.
Azariah Thomas is officially down. Garrett Wilson put on injured reserve today, so he will not be out there for the Jets. Besides that, Jelani Woods, Braden McGregor, Jamarcus Weston, and Khalil Herbert are down for the Jets today. So anything stick out there? I don't think really. I think
just their edge depth is a little bit hurt, but they still have Will Johnson, so they should be all right, at least at the top.
They do. They have
Will McDonald. Oh my
It's
gosh.
Will McDonald on one end, and then Jermaine Johnson on the other. 2 former first-round picks. So they're going to get after Drake May. How many times does Drake get sacked tonight?
My bold prediction will be 0. I honestly think that the Jets guys match up. And remember, Morgan Moses had a cup of tea with the Jets for a while. He was there for a minute, so he's familiar with those guys. That could give him an advantage. And Will Campbell, he's been playing pretty well. He struggled a bit last week, but nice opportunity to bounce back here.
All right, before we get out of here, before we get inside and get ready for Patriots vs. Jets tonight on Amazon Prime, 8:15 kickoff. Give me your prediction. I know you hate predictions, but what do you got a little bit? How does this game go? I know you don't like a score necessarily, but how do you think it plays out? And give me maybe a score range, if you will.
I have a feeling this is going to be one where the Patriots might start slow, but hopefully they can get some momentum before halftime. I'll go with 24-9 Patriots.
Okay. I wrote up bold predictions for SportsIllustrated.com that got published today. Shameless plug. Go check it out. I wrote on my last prediction that the Patriots will win this one, but it'll sneaky be a shootout. For some reason, I feel like the Jets get
shootout.
Okay. I'm going to go. Hear me out. I got to say it just so it's on the record if it happens. 38-31 Patriots tonight. Don't think the Jets actually scored 31 points on this Patriots defense, but we'll see what happens. Again, I had to get it out there. Had to put it on the record here. So that is going to
clip it, Bailey.
Yeah,
clip it
right now.
Post it
before the game.
Oh my God.
Taylor's not a fan of 31 points.
I think that's hilarious.
Clearly, that is pretty funny.
If it happens, I'll eat this microphone.
I like that. Clip that, Bailey. All right, that's going to do it here for Patriots pregame on Patriots Daily here for the CLNS Media Network. We, of course, will be back tonight. Post-game on the field, myself and Taylor will join John Zannis, as well as Greg Bedard with John here on Patriots post-game. So make sure, as always, you rate, review, and subscribe to Patriots Press Pass, the best audio-video coverage of the New England Patriots on the internet. And wanted to shout out Prize Picks again quickly here, the exclusive daily fantasy partner of the show. Head over to Prize Picks, use code CLNS, get $50 in lineups after you play $5. Again, Pat's taking on the Jets right behind us. We will see you on post-game. So until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you very soon. Peace out, everyone.
Can I ring the bell from here?